4 years ago, Mexico walked away from the World Cup with more questions than answers. For the first time in decades, they failed to escape the group stage. A nation that had built a reputation for consistency on football's biggest stage suddenly found itself watching the knockout rounds from home. Many people wondered if Mexican football had lost something. Maybe the golden days were over. Maybe the rest of the world had moved ahead. Maybe Mexico would never be the same again. Fast forward to today, and the conversation sounds completely different because Mexico has just become the first team to reach the knockout stage of the 2026 World Cup, and they did it in front of their own fans. The scoreline against South Korea was only 1-0. But this was about much more than a single goal. This was a statement, a warning, and the rest of the tournament should be paying attention. Coming into this World Cup, Mexico carried a different kind of pressure. Most teams dream of playing a World Cup at home, but home tournaments can be dangerous. The expectations become enormous. Every mistake feels bigger. Every missed chance becomes a headline. Every match feels like a final. The crowd expects victory. The media expects victory. The country expects victory. Sometimes that pressure helps. Sometimes it crushes you. For Mexico, the challenge was not just winning football matches. It was proving that 2022 was an exception and not the beginning of a decline. Their opening performances suggested something had changed. The team looked more organized, more disciplined, more confident, not spectacular, not flashy, just effective. And in tournament football, effective is often far more dangerous than exciting. Then came South Korea, a team that never makes life easy for anyone, disciplined, hardworking, capable of punishing mistakes, the kind of opponent that can turn one small error into 90 minutes of frustration. For long periods, the match felt tense. The margins were tiny. Both teams knew what was at stake. One moment could change everything. And eventually, it did. A defensive mistake opened the door. Mexico took advantage. The ball ended up in the net. And suddenly, everything changed. The stadium erupted. The players celebrated. But what stood out most was not the goal itself. It was the reaction afterward. Mexico looked calm, composed, focused. There was no panic, no desperation, no sense that they needed to prove something with a second or third goal. They understood the assignment, win the match, take the points, move on. That kind of maturity is often what separates contenders from pretenders. World Cups are not won by the team that plays the prettiest football. They are won by teams that know how to survive difficult moments, teams that stay organized when emotions are running high, teams that can win even when they are not at their absolute best. And that is exactly what Mexico did. What makes this story even more interesting is where it happened. Home soil, home fans, home pressure. For many teams, that environment becomes a burden. For Mexico, it appears to be becoming an advantage. The energy inside the stadium felt different. Every tackle was celebrated, every interception was cheered, every attack felt like it carried the hopes of an entire nation. That kind of support can be powerful. And if Mexico continues advancing, they could spend even more matches playing in familiar surroundings. That matters more than people realize. The World Cup is not just about talent, it is about momentum, confidence, belief. And right now, Mexico has all three. Of course, reaching the knockout stage does not guarantee anything. Every World Cup is filled with teams that start brilliantly and disappear when the pressure reaches its highest point. The hardest matches are still ahead. The strongest opponents are still waiting, but that is exactly why this result feels important. Because it sends a message. Mexico is not here simply to participate. They are not here to make up the numbers. They are not here to provide a good atmosphere and then quietly go home. They are here to compete. And after everything that happened 4 years ago, that might be the biggest surprise of all. The team that many people doubted, the team that many people wrote off, the team that failed when the world expected more, is now the first nation through to the knockout stage. That does not make them favorites, not yet, but it does make them dangerous, very dangerous, because confidence is a powerful thing in football. And right now, Mexico looks like a team that believes. The rest of the world should take notice, because this tournament is only getting started, and Mexico may have just sent its first warning.